unveiled 7 Plus, a saliva-based Alzheimer's detection device. It's low-cost, non-invasive, and it started from a Google search and curiosity.
From Egypt, Mariam turned curiosity into innovation.
You do not need very strong, unwavering background in a certain field to be able to innovate. And what attracted me was the fact that Alzheimer's is such a pressing problem.
Learn how she researched papers, emailed experts, and made history.
STEM is not for geniuses only. It's not only for smart people, it's for everyone. We need to stop looking at STEM subjects as this monster that keeps on haunting us during our school years, and we just can't wait to graduate. Just don't be scared. Just do it. And if you fail, it's okay. Successes and impact comes when you least expect it.
Watch Maryam's full story on the Dreemen Teen Talk Show to get inspired and learn from her tips.
Can a high schooler really reinvent medical testing? In this episode, 16-year-old Mariam from Egypt shows how Google, grit, and science fueled her fight against Alzheimer's.
So hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Dreemen Teen Talk Show. Today we are joined by a brilliant changemaker from the land of pyramids and pharaohs, Egypt. Mariam, before we dive into your inspiring STEM journey, I have to ask, as someone from such a historically rich country, what are your thoughts on the recent discoveries of hidden pillars or chambers beneath the pyramids? Does living amidst such wonders influence your thoughts as a scientist?
I definitely feel that these discoveries are very fascinating, and they just further show how science is just endlessly evolving. And no matter how much we think that we are nearing a point, and all of a sudden we discover these secret chambers, it left me in pure about how much there is to discover. And definitely this inspired me even more, because not only when it comes to pyramids, but also in other fields, in biology, in neuroscience, in math, there's always just something else to discover. We should always dig deeper, with whether it's quite literally the pyramids or theoretically.
That's great.
Of course.
When I went through your profile, I saw you are in biology, in mathematics, in bioengineering, and neuroscience. How old are you?
16, I'm turning 17 in 3 months.
So in which grade are you now?
I am in year 10.
Wow. So my first question to you is, you have led the development of diagnostic devices of early stage Alzheimer's. What inspired this project? Why Alzheimer's? And how do you manage the challenge of being a student and doing all these discoveries?
I was in 7th grade and I was watching Meet the Robinsons during an online class. It was during quarantine. And if you remember, in Meet the Robinsons, they had this memory scanner. And of course, I did not invent the memory scanner, but I discovered neuroscience. Through researches, Google searches, I discovered Alzheimer's, which just goes to show that you do not need very strong, unwavering background in a certain field to be able to innovate. And what attracted me was the fact that Alzheimer's is such a pressing problem. As we speak, there are over 55 million Alzheimer's patients. That number is huge. And these numbers are expected to triple by 2050. It leads to death at the end. It does not have a cure. We can't cure it. I need to do something about it. So I worked on a project that's related to the detection of Alzheimer's. I don't have access to labs. So I started looking into what do we lack in detection. What we could do is we could try to detect Alzheimer's at early stages. Because diagnosing Alzheimer's while it's still in its early stages, not only does it open doors to, but it also gives them more control over their life planning, because now they can have an idea of what's going ahead. They have an idea of the Alzheimer's timeline, of how much time they have left. It reduces the burden on healthcare systems, and it also enables drug trials during the actual window of neuroprotection. So we kind of have extra time to try innovative solutions. So currently, there are multiple ways to detect Alzheimer's, but unfortunately, they do come with a very hefty bill. A lot of patients might delay they're diagnosed, and then they wait until the symptoms are too bad, and they go ahead and they test, but it's too late. Current test is cerebrospinal fluid analysis, MRI, imaging, and PET scans. They're excellent, but they are also expensive. And that's why I chose saliva. It's not invasive and it's low cost. You could collect it, and what essentially the relationship between the biomarkers and the saliva is that saliva is regulated by autoimmune nervous system, and also it's low cost, no fancy equipment required, and it's easily collectible. It also contains biomarkers for Alzheimer's.
Have you been able to create that product? How far has your research gone?
For now, my research is completely theoretical because I don't really have access to resources and opportunity, but hopefully that will be a possibility in the future. With my research,
Mariam, I'm keen to know, what challenges did you face being a young student working on such an ambitious research project without institutional support?
I also wanted to talk about the journey of lonely students trying to make such a high impact research. It definitely was not easy, especially because in my school, no one has attempted to do scientific researches before. And I was just so lost in the beginning. I've collaborated with a Stanford professor who told me, for example, you're not paying enough attention to this problem. You need to address it. And I was like, what could we do? And he said, okay, we need to filter the saliva first. So because I felt that filtering saliva beforehand could cause problems or complications to people taking the test, I decided to put an automated saliva treatment layer in the device so that they could immediately just drop the saliva sample, and without filtering it externally and looking at it could immediately just filter within the device. So that's like one of the biggest collaborations I've had with a Stanford professor.
How did you find him?
Through Google. What I did, it's very easy for any teenager out there that wants to find a professor. Go to certain universities that you want, write the sector or the field. So I wrote Stanford neuroscience professors, because some universities will have like professors' research papers linked to their profile, and that's very good. Even if they don't have a link, just Google their name on like Google Scholar. It will pop up. And I looked at the ones that were doing like similar work, because it is very important. You should pick people that are passionate about your mission. That professor actually was attempting a very similar approach to Alzheimer's, but the difference was he was doing it with plasma, with blood plasma. So he was very interested, and we did a Zoom together, and he was able to share very valuable information with me. It was a very big moment. I've entered a competition and I was selected as a finalist.
Wow.
And I got the opportunity to speak with an angel investor. We were first in a science fair. We did not get selected. The feedback from the science fair judges was actually quite negative, but it's okay. We were at the beginning of the project. I enhanced the project. We tried tweaking it. We tried adding things for more accuracy. And this is when we were selected as finalists.
Nice. That's really good. You're not discouraged.
Yeah, I've faced so many rejections. And we went ahead. We contacted people in a Turkish university, and they were very open to collaborating with us and making our project a reality. But that's when I left Turkey to come live in Egypt. So that was on hold. But I'm pretty sure if I found people abroad, I can find people here. And it's just a matter of keeping up consistency and keeping up momentum.
I'm sure you will find so many like-minded people on LinkedIn also who are as passionate about your cause as you are.
I got so happy when you asked to interview me because I felt like I was being noticed. So definitely people like you are playing a role in keeping us up with our work and continuing.
Definitely. Our job is to bring your voice out so that more and more people are inspired, more teens are inspired. When they see that Mariam can do this, they'll feel inspired. If she can do it, I can also do it. That is the whole purpose.
Definitely. That was my main point of my STEM club because students did not want to do research projects in my school. And at the
Good.
beginning, people were like, it's not going to happen because when it comes to science fair, there are people in like prep schools and they're very hardworking, but it's just that they have better access to opportunities. And my school was underfunded and it didn't have much resources. And this is something that I'm trying to combat with my work in advocacy for STEM. It's that STEM is not for geniuses only. It's not only for smart people, it's for everyone. We need to stop looking at STEM subjects as this monster that keeps on haunting us during our school years and we just can't wait to graduate so we never study math again. So we never look at our biology notes again. And I think that's a very wrong approach. I don't know where this stigma came from. People frown and roll their eyes at STEM. But luckily, with my STEM club, I've been able to change that. More and more people are like, hey, we want to join your STEM club. We want to do research. And it's been just such a beautiful journey.
I'm sure you're a great leader. You are inspiring so many more people.
Thank you so much.
Can you walk us through your how you created that SAPED? How that evolved from
Yeah.
version 1 to version 1.6? What has been the biggest breakthrough and the lesson that you have learned so far?
So SAPD stands for Salivary POCT Early Detection Device. And I thought, oh wow, I finally got recognition. People liked it actually. And I remember one of like the most fulfilling moments of my life when I was the finalist. That just shows how much the small steps I took in 7th grade, just reading about neuroscience, have led to such like a big success in my life. We should always keep on updating and always keep on adding new advancements to science, and not only to science but to our life in general. When I moved to Egypt, I had a bit of free time on hand. I took my device and I looked at the problems, which was quite easy because I feel a lot of teenagers nowadays are themselves biggest critics. Like we tend to criticize our work a lot, so that part was easy. And I started to delve deeper. I explored nanotechnology. I explored other aspects. So 1.6, the version 1.6, is simply a much more accurate and much more scientifically grounded version of the earlier one. And I'm just very happy because I worked really hard. I tried to gather as much information as I can. And I've actually got a bit of a surprise is that I'm thinking about integrating other diseases, not only Alzheimer's, but also other diseases like Parkinson's. Or yes, maybe even like cancers. I don't know, but I think I've really been able to turn my project into something like very innovative. And 1 year ago, if you told me that I would be able to do all of this work independently with no mentor, aside from that saliva filtration thing from the Stanford professor, I would say no way, no, not me. But it just shows that with hard work, really anything is possible. It's not fun, but if you're getting a result at the end, then you're doing the right thing.
From Google to groundbreaking, Mariam's just getting started. In part 2, she shares how failure helped her lead. You wouldn't want to miss that. Thank you, see you next time. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.